you only just realized. You can only swallow 2 to 3 times before your body forces you to wait to try again. And you can't with your nose plugged. You can actually tickle yourself by rubbing your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And your forearm is about the same size as your foot. And if you say, your breath comes out warm. But when you say, your breath comes out cold.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here to the channel, you guys don't know what we do, let me talk about it. We break down the most scariest and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, from YouTube videos to TikTok videos, IG Reels, Facebook. Anything weird, usual, and unexplained you can find right here on this channel. Just want to thank each and every single one of my supporters who come back to the channel every single day, watching the videos entirely, commented down below, and most importantly, hitting that thumbs up button, man. You're helping us push us into the algorithm, man, so other seekers can find us. So I greatly appreciate the support. Found this video for you guys today. Let's do what we do best, seekers. Stay with me, y'all. Let's seek the truth.
Facts about money that will blow your mind. Half of all elder millennials wish they had chosen a different career path. The majority said they felt pressure to pursue 4-year degrees with mountains of debt and now earn too little in their jobs to keep up. Here's the scariest part about all this. Gen Z has the lowest average student loan debt of $14,000. Millennials are the next highest with $33,000 on average. Gen Xers have even more student loan debt on average with $43,000. And finally, baby boomers actually carry the highest average student loan debt. Your student loan debt actually goes up as you get older. Top that off with the unemployment rate going back up, and more than 1 million people became unemployed last month. Here is a solution that could double your income. The average tech salary is $100,000 to $300,000. You can learn any tech profession in 6 to 9 months with Triple 10. Triple 10 offers beginner-friendly boot camps with tons of different careers, and 87% of students get great jobs at companies like Amazon and Tesla. Triple 10 will even give your money back if you don't get a job within 6 months of graduating. Link in my bio to take their free consultation to find out what career would be best for you. There is an
Who going to Triple 10, man? Get that tech money, bro. It's actually interesting, man, to see the generations of seeing how much money people owe in college, man. If you don't know what you're going to college for, I just say figure it out before you go so you don't get all that debt piled up.
Eerie ghost town in America that is too dangerous to humans because it's been on fire for over 60 years. The roads leading to it were even covered in dirt to keep people out. But despite this, the town of Centralia still has a population of 4. You see, back in its day, it was a booming coal mining town with thousands living there. But when a fire accidentally spread to the mines underground and became too large to extinguish, houses started collapsing, roads began to crack and buckle, dangerous gases started rising into the air, and a 12-year-old child even got sucked into a 150-foot sinkhole. It became so dangerous that the state of Pennsylvania stepped in and offered to buy people's properties off of them so they could leave the town. And because coal seam fires have a massive amount of fuel, it's believed that the fire will continue to burn for another 200 years. But despite the town's zip code being erased off the map, the roads to it being blocked off with mounds of dirt, and even a court order saying that any residents that remain would not be allowed to sell or pass down their homes to anyone, according to a 2020 census, 4 people still remain. 5 things you can do with your body.
Who in the hell is living in a town that's always on fire? Why didn't they just abandon it with everybody else? I guess that their family home is really important to them, man. You know, some people, like, they just refuse to move. I think I seen a clip on Twitter or something like that where, like, this beacon house, they had built, like, a whole, like, I guess new, like, roads and stuff like that, but they had to freaking build around the house because the owner refused to sell them, man.
That you only just realized. You can only swallow 2 to 3 times before your body forces you to wait to try again. And you can't with your nose plugged. You can actually tickle yourself by rubbing your tongue on the roof of your mouth. And your forearm is about the same size as your foot. And if you say, your breath comes out warm. But when you say, your breath comes out cold. Is celebrities' houses before
really?
and after their fame. Eminem or Marshall Mathers was born and raised in Missouri. This is the house his family settled in when he was 11 years old. And then after his rise to fame, this is now his house. And this is the house where Jennifer Lopez grew up. Her parents were born in Puerto Rico and moved to the USA, and this is the house in New York that they bought. And then after her rise to fame, this is now one of her mansions. This is where Kanye West grew up in Chicago. But then at the age of 10, he moved to China to live with his mother. Then after his rise to fame, this is one of his incredible mansions. And Justin Bieber grew up in this house on low-income housing in Stratford, Ontario, the United States. And after his mega successful career, this is one of his craziest mansions.
Seeing it glow up on each and every single one of them, man. They said, I'm through with the house. We in the mansions now. It's insane. Especially the Justin Bieber one. I can't even
Top
imagine.
3 terrifying animals that existed and you didn't know about. Number 3, the titanoboa. This prehistoric snake, living approximately 60 million years ago, ranks among the most terrifying creatures known. Reaching lengths of 39 to 49 feet and weighing up to 2,500 pounds, it dominated ecosystems, particularly in South America. Number 2, the Pulmonoscorpius, an ancient scorpion from the Carboniferous period, about 330 million years ago. Measuring up to 2.3 feet long, it surpassed the size of any present-day scorpion. Its formidable appearance likely made it a fearsome predator in its time. Number 1, the Gigantopithecus. As the largest primate to have ever lived, this colossal hominid existed around 100,000 years ago. Standing up to 9.8 feet tall and weighing up to 1,322 pounds, it was an imposing figure, although likely a peaceful herbivore. Factors like climate change and competition with humans contributed to its eventual extinction.
Normal-looking
That's a
photos
mini
that have a
calm.
disturbing backstory. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested. The 17-year-old who took this photo told his family members that he planned to hike the stairway to heaven. He texted multiple pictures before his disappearance, and shortly after, the family noticed a man in this photo. While this photo may seem like an ordinary picture of footprints in the sand, they actually belong to a 4-year-old little girl who shortly after this photo was taken, drowned in the ocean. The 2 brothers in this photo are at Sequoia National Park. This photo was taken moments before they were both struck by lightning, and both shockingly survived. There was a tradition in Victorian England to take photos of dead people, often dressed in their best clothes, and pose as if they were taking a family portrait. If you look at this photo for long enough, you will notice something is a little off about one of the children. The man who took this photo of his wife scuba diving off the Australian coast also managed to take a photo of Tina Watson, who was drowned by her husband that day in 2003.
These are the scariest
Terrifying
sounds
backstories, man.
of war. Ghost Tape 10 was an audio tape played by the US Army during the Vietnam War. They would play it from helicopters and boats. Its aim was to scare the enemy Viet Cong who were hiding in the jungle.
Playing mind games on them.
The A-10 Thunderbolt II is one of the most feared planes owned by the US military. It is better known as the Warthog because of the scary sound it makes.
Is it like breaking a sound barrier?
The Warthog can actually open the sound barrier. The atomic bomb is one of the most powerful bombs ever made.
We know that from history. There's no explanation needed there. Could you imagine, man, you in the force, you hearing those sounds? Like I said, they was playing freaking, I guess, psychological or mind games on I guess, enemy soldiers. You'd be paranoid, man, especially in the jungle too. Oof. What's he got?
Hot take, not gonna apologize for it. 1v1, a Wolverine would whoop a honey badger. That Streets made this aggressive bull cut the face of Black Air Force energy. Old time the Wolverine's the CEO of Cell Block D tendencies. First of all, they're more than capable of hunting for themselves, but some dudes can't be bothered to get their own bread. Instead, they gotta steal from the baker. And by baker, I mean they'll tax animals like wolves, cougars, even bears. Let me remind you, they're about the size of a medium dog, yet the crackhead Courage can have an overgrown canyon cat backpedaling. And you thought honey badgers were on timing. And they are, but Wolverines, where else are you gonna find a war weasel 2v1ing a pair of wolves? But
2v1, bro.
They can hunt, and they are very good at it. They've been known to murk moose by either going after one that's already injured or one stuck in the snow, since felony ferret's like a psychopath with snowshoes. And they'll track you down and run your fate like John Wick. This reindeer was injured and likely bleeding, so the travel-sized bear followed it and delivered smoke directly to the face like a cigarette. They've also been known to eat porcupines, or at least die trying. And you can even find a story of a Wolverine packing up a polar bear. Yeah, it was at a zoo, but that's still a fat W. Wolverines have this really bad habit of whenever they find something that doesn't belong to them, they'll immediately soak it with the smell of death, strong enough to make you cry fresh from its brown eye. A smell so offensive they've been nicknamed Skunk Bear. There have been stories of them breaking into cabins, blowing up the place like a truck stop bathroom, and walking out with like a sock or something. Almost forgot, this walking garbage disposal has rotated molars in the back of its mouth, meaning they can chew through solid bone and frozen meat. I'm sorry, but a motivated skunk monkey is absolutely folding an Oreo-coated temper tantrum, but that's just me.
Perplexing plot twists, part 1. In 2008, an Australian couple named Julian and Carolyn were kidnapped by a satanic cult. Members of the cult threw them in a van and drove them deep into the forest where they were stripped, blindfolded, tied up, and abandoned. Convinced that they would die, Julian suggested that the couple get married under the eyes of God and consummate their relationship. After a week of wandering through the woods, the couple finally made it back to their hometown. Julian was immediately arrested and found guilty of staging the entire thing.
What? He staged that entire thing for this girl. Y'all in the woods for a week, man. For him to be the mastermind? That's insane, bro.
Worst rated foods in the world. Jellied eels is a food from England, which consists of boiled eels, with salt, pepper, and vinegar added to them. Rating 2.2. Chapalele is a food from Chile. It's a bread made from potatoes and flour. It doesn't sound bad, but many don't like the texture or taste. Rating 2.1. Yerushalmi kugel is a food from Israel. It might look like a cake, but it's actually a casserole, made from noodles, eggs, and peppers. Some like it, while others despise it. Rating 2. Ramen burger is an American food. It's basically a hamburger, but with ramen noodles instead of buns, leading to a very soggy texture and kind of a weird taste. Rating 1.9. Halkart is a food from Iceland. It's made from shark flesh, which is then fermented for up to 3 months, and then left to dry for 5 more months. This creates a very strong taste which makes many people gag. It's normally served in really small quantities because it's so strong. Rating 1.5. Kalvsylta is a food from Sweden. It's a mix of jellied veal, onions, and spices, and is eaten cold. Rating 1.4. Blood-curdling is a food from Finland. It's basically a dumpling made from flour and reindeer blood. Rudolph better stay away from Finland. Some say blood-curdling has a similar taste to a ball of bacon, while others say the taste is absolutely awful. Rating 1. Tell me in the comments what your least favorite food is.
What if the purge was...
I ain't gonna lie, I think it would have to be the Blood Bowl. You see different foods, different cultures. They either got 1 or 2. I thought the ramen burger was kind of gonna be up there, but that one failed too. I didn't even know there was such a thing as that. I'm gonna have to try that. Find out for myself. Seekers, what are you guys' least favorite food?
Real. A new political party is voted into office in the U.S. The new party amends the Constitution to allow 1 day every year where all crime is legal. Most Americans bunker down in their homes, but a group of murdering psychopaths patrol the streets, and this actually prevents riots, but the majority of the murders actually happen between angry family members. Financial crimes are rampant, and the stock market crashes every single year the day before the purge.
These are the safest countries to go if World War III was to start. And considering the news at the moment, you might want to sit down, shut up, and listen! So favorite this video, just in case you ever need it. I hope we never do. Now, there are countries all around the world, but let's start with Argentina. Now, if this was to all break out, it's likely that the world would look similar to Terminator 2 Judgment Day at the end. It's likely that all the smoke from all of these will block out the sun, this resulting very quickly in famine and crop failure. But don't panic, because we have Argentina. In Argentina, there are an abundance of resistant crops, such as wheat. This is one of the places on Earth that actually has a chance of surviving World War III. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Switzerland. Now, aside from the fact that it is incredibly neutral when it comes to politics, it has a landlocked geography and mountainous terrain, as well as being one of the countries with an insane amount of underground bunkers. Actually, there's 26,000 of them, which are actually all very hidden, which will mean you will be very safe. As well, just in case there is an invasion, Switzerland literally has booby traps everywhere. It's actually kind of insane and awesome. Next up, we have one of the big ones, Antarctica. Now, barely anyone thinks about going there, which is why it's pretty safe. However, as you can tell, it's a bit fucking cold. So bring a coat.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Greenland. Now, it was in this movie, and they all survived. But on top of that, it's remote,
mountainous and politically neutral, making it kind of an ideal refuge point. And on top of that, worst case scenario, you're not too far away from the global seed vaults, which, you know, has a lot of seeds in it for planting, and thus food and survival. There are literally so many more countries on this list, so if you'd like me to go through more countries in a part 2, let me know, and hopefully we'll never need this video. But just in case we do send this to a friend, it could save their life one day. Elon!
Hey, like I said, hopefully we won't need that. I'm definitely gonna if we can write some of those countries down though. I can't believe that Switzerland, bro, have all those bunkers. You would think the US would have some bunkers like that too.
Trying to take over the world in today's time would go absolutely horrible. Now, trying to take over the world 1,000 years ago probably wasn't very hard. You know, you put me in a world 1,000 years ago, I could easily take over the world. Now, obviously, they weren't thinking about that. They were thinking about when they're going to get their next meal and when they're not going to die of frostbite by the age of 19.
Yep.
This taking over the world concept that we see in movies and TV shows, animes, cartoons, whatever you want to say, in fiction, just to say fiction, it isn't realistic at all. I mean, no shit. Yeah, did you know that, like, it's not possible to take over the world? Woo! Will plays us are really making us feel enlightened over here. But trying to take over the world nowadays would go horrible, like I said. 1, because guns exist. 2, because we're already unified. And 3, because guns exist. I guess if you wanted to take over the world, I guess you could probably try to convince a bunch of hillbillies and drug addicts that you're the Messiah. I would start there.
I don't think that would end
This
well.
clown animatronic changed the landscape of the Halloween industry when it released. This is the creepy towering clown from Spirit Halloween 2017, and his history is kind of interesting. First, because I know you guys love it so much, let's start with his official backstory. Grimsley the Great was a troubled man, an infamously tall clown who was part of a traveling carny family. Every night before a performance, Grimsley would stand before his dressing room mirror and manically paint on his deceivingly joyous features. But it took hundreds of attempts before he was satisfied. He'd wipe his face clean and start over in a fit of rage, often gnashing his pale white face with his dagger-like fingernails. Some say you could hear his blood-curdling screams from miles away from his dressing room, and his sinister soul was hiding a dark secret, a plan to collect and transform innocent bystanders into human oddities for show business. That was just a quick retelling of his official story, and it's one of the better ones, I'd say. Grimsley is made by a company called Seasonal Visions International, and he was the first bent-legged towering prop that they'd ever released. This looming, bent-legged pose eventually found its way onto several other characters. It was really popular at the time. They don't make them that much anymore, but some would say that's for the better, as these animatronics dominated SVI in the late 2010s. Before he came to Spirit, Grimsley became available in the UK in early 2017 on a website called Mad About Horror, which I still don't fully understand considering that he was meant to be a Spirit exclusive, but regardless, this was one of the few Spirit exclusives that was available in the UK for a brief period in time. But most notably, this animatronic is what started what I'm going to call the clowndemic. Grimsley's release coincided with a cultural phenomenon at the time that helped propel him into one of Spirit Halloween's most successful props. And that was It 2017. I don't know if I can really illustrate just how fucking popular this movie was when it released, but if you were there on the internet in 2017, you would know. Before 2017, clown animatronics weren't even that popular. They weren't even that frequent, which is insane to think about, because after 2017, clowns were everywhere. Nearly every clown animatronic after Grimsley became insanely popular. Many of them actually ended up overshadowing Grimsley completely, like Pugs the Clown, Crouchy, 2020 Charlie, and some others. Grimsley doesn't even get talked about that much anymore. Something else that's interesting, this was one of the first SVI animatronics that suffered from very severe facial deformities. Not quite to the extent of Heckles from last year, but it was bad.
In 2018, though, they fixed this, and to this day, the 2018 model is the best version of this prop, and that's also the version that I have. Also, he has his own costume, so take that as you will. Shockingly enough, this prop retailed for only $200 in 2017. I know some will say that that's still a lot, but this thing is 7 feet tall. He's huge. If he released today, I'd bet money that he would be $300 to $350, no doubt about it. Even back in the day, $200 was crazy reasonable, considering some of the other animatronics that were priced the same. In my opinion, he was absolutely worth the money, and I think he deserves to be talked about a little more.
Tall ass clown. I don't do clowns though. Imagine seeing that walking by. Little kid gonna be scared as hell. There's different costumes, or is just that costume that comes with it? I'm about to say, was he said that clown was responsible for the clown phenomenon? That was all over YouTube, all over the internet. I remember those days. People were pranking people.
Facts about food. The largest meal ever consumed was when a woman ate 19 pounds of food in about 4 hours. She did end up passing away after this. A Serbian vodka comes with 13 health warnings, including one in Braille, due to its 88% alcohol content. In 2022, 2 Californians filed a class action lawsuit against Barilla Pasta because they thought it was made in Italy. The FDA does not recognize Dr. Pepper as a cola, a root beer.
What the hell is Dr. Pepper then? Cut back on the bacon. Or switch to turkey bacon, man. Yeah, red apples or green apples? Which one are y'all, seekers? Pasta? Let me guess it failed. Fat-free chips? I've never seen that design before. Those fat-free cons, man. There's always something to it. Fruit sickles? Castor oil? What the? Why would they name that oil?
Cranberries will bounce. If you want to test how ripe your cranberries are, drop them on the ground. Cranberries are nature's bouncy ball. Even farmers use this technique to see if their cranberries are ready for shipment. Mountain Dew contains orange juice. Although it tastes like a lemon lime soda, orange juice is third on the list of ingredients, just behind carbonated water and high fructose corn syrup. Humans' DNA is 60% the same as bananas. Our genes are comprised of 3 billion building blocks, which are surprisingly ununique. From this, 60% of our genes are identical to that of the banana. However,
The other 40% is different enough to make us who we are. There's a small
Okay.
difference between jelly and jam. Jam is made with fruit, which is why it's so much more chunky. Jelly is made with fruit juice. This is an easy way to tell the difference between jelly and jam. Jelly will
Oh.
spread evenly, while jam will tend to be a little lumpy. A ridiculous amount of Nutella is sold every year, so much so that it could cover the Great Wall of China 8 times. You could circle the world almost 2 whole times, and the amount weighs the same as the entire Empire State Building. Sound can influence the taste of your food. High frequency
How?
sounds are to enhance the sweetness in food, while low frequencies bring out the bitterness. Pound cake got its name from its recipe. The early recipes of pound cake called for 1 pound of butter, 1 pound of eggs, and 1 pound of sugar. Most
Damn.
supermarket wasabi is actually horseradish. Real wasabi is challenging to make and expensive. As an alternative, most wasabi for sale is colored horseradish with flavoring. Farmed salmon is dyed pink. Wild salmon is naturally pink because of all of the shrimp they eat. Farm-raised salmon have a different diet and end
Eating
up
fake salmon out
However, they
here?
are fed specific plant pigments to get the same hue as wild salmon. Crackers are worse for your teeth than sugar. Acid is the biggest cause of tooth decay, and crackers tend to stick to your teeth, which ends up being a breeding ground for bacteria. You can find peanuts in dynamite. Peanuts have an oil that is used as an ingredient while making glycerol, which is a main component of nitroglycerin. French fries originated in Belgium, not France. They are only called French fries because they are French cut. Twinkie cream is not cream at all. It is actually vegetable shortening. Strawberries are not berries. Technically, berries only have seeds on the inside, a rule which is obviously broken by strawberries. Margarita pizza is named after a queen. When King Umberto I and Queen Margarita visited Naples, they wanted a change from their fancy food and asked for pizza, which was food for the poor back then. The queen loved the mozzarella pizza so much that it ended up being named after her. Thomas Jefferson actually made pasta popular in the United States. He is responsible for bringing the first macaroni machine over to the United States after spending time in France. He was also the one who introduced mac and cheese to Americans. Cauliflower comes in multiple colors. Although we typically only see the white cauliflower, it actually has purple, orange, green varieties. Orange and purple cauliflowers have higher antioxidants. Lima beans are deadly. Raw lima beans have lethal amounts of cyanide in them, but if you cook them thoroughly, you'll be just fine. Sweet drinks can cause dementia. It's not quite as drastic as it originally sounds. However, studies have shown that people who drink 1 or more artificially sweetened drinks per day were almost 3 times more likely to develop dementia. Coffee is the main source of antioxidants for Americans. Antioxidants help fight aging and heart disease, but coffee doesn't really have that many of them. We just drink a lot of it, so we kind of get enough. An expensive delicacy of China is bird's nest soup, which is made from rare bird's nests created from the saliva of small swiftlets. They've been used in China for over 4 centuries. Food is allowed to contain some amount of insects. By FDA standards, there is an allowance for the level of traces of bugs that could be in your food. Chocolate can have no more than 60 insect fragments per 100 grams. Peanut butter can't have more than 30 insects per 100 grams. So theoretically, insects can be in them as long as it's under that. Tonic water.
That's insane.
Quinine is the component of tonic water, which is what causes the glow. Sheep brains are a delicacy in Turkey, China, and India. Brains are a natural filling for ravioli, cheese, scrambled eggs, and other textured dishes. Rocky Mountain oysters are deep-fried bull testicles, a favorite among cowboys, often served at rodeo events across the United States.
It's the only way to escape quicksand. If you ever somehow find yourself trapped in quicksand, don't panic. Despite what you've seen in films, you're not going to get sucked under. The truth is, quicksand is denser than us, so you'll float more than you'll sink. Basically, the air in your lungs will keep your upper body above the quicksand, while your legs might get stuck. Now here's what you need to do to get out. Start with one leg and move it around a bit like you're stirring a big pot of soup. Doing this lets water seep down and break up the thick sand, making it easier to pull your leg out. Once you've got one leg out, bend forward onto the free knee. This helps spread your weight around and prevents you from sinking right back in. Now do the same stir the pot motion with your other leg. Pull it out, and there you go. You just got yourself out of quicksand.
3 ways to survive a zombie apocalypse. Number 1, get as far away from the cities as possible, being that there's going to be a ton of people around and not many corners to turn to. When being in most cities, you have high buildings. You don't want to get trapped on the roof of one of them and having to fight your way all the way down. I would suggest going towards the countryside. Number 2, make sure you have non-perishable foods. Things that are in cans. Things that can last long periods of time. Things like beans and canned chicken. Also, any kind of bottled or canned beverage will do. Preferably something that's refillable. Number 3,
Make sure you have a weapon that you're very comfortable with when going throughout this apocalypse. Something that doesn't make too much noise but deals a ton of damage, like a barbed wire baseball bat or a sledgehammer. Don't forget to like and follow if you want me to continue this series.
Got that from Negan, that barbed wire baseball bat off of Walking Dead.
The life of her husband after she found out that he was actually born a woman. In February of 2002, Elizabeth Radowski met Angelo Headington, and Elizabeth was working as a salesman, and she went to the farm where Angelo was working. The two instantly hit it off, and they started a romantic relationship. About 3 months later, they ended up getting married, but the relationship quickly turned into one with anger, rage, and violence. 3 months into their marriage, Angelo viciously attacked Elizabeth, and this is what caused her to fatally stab Angelo in self-defense. When paramedics were called to the scene, they were checking out Angelo's body, trying to stop the bleeding, and that's when they noticed that his private area was actually a prosthetic, and he was born as a woman named Angela. Elizabeth stated that Angelo told her that his ex had burned his genitals in a fit of rage, so when they were intimate, it was always dark with the lights off, and she never saw him take off his clothes in front of her. Elizabeth was arrested on second-degree murder charges after Angelo had died in the hospital. Elizabeth told authorities that Angelo had attacked her and she had no other choice but to defend herself. The charges against Elizabeth ended up being dropped, and the grand jury determined that she did act in self-defense.
This is the only way to survive a tsunami. So if you start to see sea levels on the shore rising, take this as a sign of a tidal wave and move further inland. Ideally, as far back as possible, so run immediately. Now, it might be tempting to run for a car, but given that traffic will likely form as a result of the chaos, that will probably be pointless. So in order to move more freely, you should continue to walk. Also, keep an eye out for stampedes and large crowds of people to avoid being crushed. When the water starts to flood the area around you and reaches you, you're in the danger zone of a tsunami, and something much worse is yet to come. So instead of continuing to run inland, you should try to get as high as possible on a solid building. In order to climb up there, try looking for a ladder, because by this time the power has most likely been cut off. The only thing left to do is to wait to see if you reached a sufficient height. And at this point, well done, you made it.
Okay, we got some tips on how to survive the zombie apocalypse, tsunami, how to get out of quicksand. We learn the things that they seekers. Tap in with us. I don't even want to be in that situation, man, but I put that in my knowledge bank. So now I know what to do.
This story truly infuriates me. This woman was forced to marry this man, and only a few weeks later, she was found murdered. This is about 20-year-old Rukia Hadari, who moved from Afghanistan to Australia with her family at a very young age. In 2019, Rukia was forced by her mother to marry 25-year-old Muhammad Ali only 2 weeks after her mom introduced them. Leading up to the wedding day in November, Rukia was going around telling her friends, teachers, and counselors that she did not want to go through with the wedding, but had no choice because her mom told her that she had to do it. Before their wedding day, Rukia and Mohammed had only seen each other a few times, and during the ceremony, it's clear that she does not look happy or excited at all. After their ceremony, Rukia moved across the country to live with Mohammed, leaving her friends and family behind, and things quickly took a turn. Only 6 weeks after their wedding, Rukia's life was savagely taken by Mohammed after he got upset that she was not cooking or cleaning for him. He even took this video moments before he took her life and sent it to her family to try to embarrass her. Mohammed slit her throat with a kitchen knife, and then he called her brother to let him know what he did, and then he turned himself in. But here's the twist. Not only was Mohammed charged with murder and sentenced to life in prison, Rukia's mother was also found guilty and was the first person in Australia to be convicted of causing a person to enter into a forced marriage.
This teenager killed.
Yeah, that's an insane story, man. Like, a forced marriage where they had the door didn't have no say. Like, she just forced to marry a stranger. Can't even imagine that. What has this world come to?
With his mom over a bad grade. This is 15-year-old Gregory Ramos. And on November 2nd, 2018, Gregory Ramos got into a fight with his mother, Gail Clevenger. The fight started over his bad school grades, which resulted in him strangling his own mother to death. Gregory then proceeded to call 2 of his friends to help him bury her body and stage a robbery at his house. Gregory buried her body under a church fire pit and was sentenced to 45 years in prison. Now, what I'm about to show you is Gregory explaining exactly how he committed the murder, and it's absolutely disturbing because keep in mind, this was his own mother.
It's whatever. Alright, I'll tell you what happened. Alright, so I got home, I got in an argument with my mom. She slapped me across the face, she began to hit me. She started beating me. I didn't like it, so I strangled her to death. Alright? I put her in a wheelbarrow, I put her in my car, I took the car, I had a breakdown where I almost committed suicide 3 times. I drove around Daytona, I dropped the wheelbarrow in some random ass location, and I drove back to the church. I began to dig a hole. I dig a hole right under the fucking fire pit. I took a pretty deep hole, pretty deep, deep enough to put a bit of body in, alright? All this time my mom was decomposing body, I dragged it from my car to the fire pit, in which case I tried to cut the wedding ring off her finger because I wanted to pawn it, but I couldn't because I didn't have a knife sharp enough to cut bones. Oh well, whatever. Anyways, so I dug that hole, threw her body in there, filled back in, made it look all nice and natural, dumped my clothes, and then I went home.
The easiest horror movies to survive. Number 1, Candyman. All you have to do is not say his name 3 times and you will survive. It might genuinely be one of the easiest movies you could survive as long as you're not dumb. Number 2, The Ring. They tell you, hey, don't watch this tape or you'll get cursed. And then you watch the tape and wonder why you're unalive. Just don't watch the tape and you'll be perfectly fine. Number 3, Chucky. Chucky is a doll. Remember that. Chucky's a doll. Yes, very smart, the intellect of a man that pretty much inhabited the doll when he was unalive. But nonetheless, it's a doll. I'm punting Chucky across the room. I'm sorry. Number 4, Pennywise. Now, me being a kid or me being an adult, I'm going nowhere near a storm drain. There's no way I'm going to the storm drain and having a conversation with someone dressed like a clown. It's just not gonna work for me. It's just not something I'm gonna do. The first 1,000 of you to click the link in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube.
Could you survive those movies, man? Just follow simple logic. It's really easy. Especially about this part about Chucky, man. He's a doll, but you can just chuck him across the roof.
How to survive a brain-eating amoeba. This deadly creature wants to live in warm, fresh water all over the world. Step 1, hold your nose. Strangely enough, they can't infect you through your mouth, so just make sure you're wearing a nose clip when you're swimming in fresh water. And yes, that includes sketchy swimming pools. People have been infected from sketchy swimming pools. Step 2, don't touch the bottom. Naegleria fowleri, its official name, likes to live in the sediment on the bottom of fresh water sources. So by disturbing this dirt and kicking it up, you're putting yourself at higher risk. Step 3, if you're experiencing things like nausea and headache after swimming in fresh water, make sure you see a doctor as soon as possible. Only 7 people have survived this brain-eating organism, and all of them required intense medical care. If you want to avoid these guys altogether, maybe just stick to swimming in salt water. Try the Bahamas. Hashtag not sponsored. And that's...
Okay. Never swimming in some fresh water. Got stuff in that water, man, that you don't want to enter in your body. Edit. Call them on like when we see it.
Here are 3 ways you can survive an encounter with the Slenderman.
Talk about it.
According to legend, the Slenderman is a malicious entity with supernatural abilities, known for stalking and tormenting its human victims, seemingly without cause. The first rule you'll need to follow if you suspect that the Slenderman is nearby is to always carry a camera or cellular device with photographic capabilities with you at all times. The Slenderman can only be viewed by children or through the lens of a camera, so this will allow you to know its location, erasing any chance of a surprise attack. Secondly, you'll want to keep an eye out for warnings posted by the Slenderman's previous victims. If you ever see any, run. Finally, if you're being chased by the Slenderman, try to avoid running on foot. The Slenderman is exceptionally fast, can teleport, and has arms that can extend more than 10 feet, so it's much safer to flee in a vehicle or take cover inside. Tag a friend if you're watching this alone, and follow for more.
Okay.
This perverted woman snuck into morgue and essayed over 40 corpses. This is a disturbing case of Karen Greenlee, a necrophile who described herself as a morgue rat. So Karen actually worked as an apprentice embalmer in Sacramento, California. On December the 17th, 1979, she stole the body of a 33-year-old man. Her intentions were to SA the corpse. Now on this occasion, someone actually saw her steal the body, and therefore police were able to easily track her down. And when they found her, she was trying to unalive herself. Authorities took her to the hospital, her stomach was pumped, and her life was saved. Since she was trying to unalive herself, she had written a chilling goodbye letter. In that letter, she confessed to having slept with the corpses of over 40 men. She said that the smell of death turned her on, and she admitted it was some sort of addiction. Lucky for Karen, at the time she was arrested, necrophilia was not illegal, and so she only spent 11 days in prison, and that was for trying to steal a dead body. Since then, Karen has changed her name and moved to another city. And let's just hope she kicks that addiction. I'm Harvs, and if you want to hear more stories about real life people, hit the plus.
Who wins in a fight? Winnie?
That is one of the most strangest and weirdest addictions I've ever heard in my life. She was probably the one who made that law go into effect, man. She only spent 11 days in jail. Come on, bro. These clips, man, that we be watching be breaking our reality, bro.
Winnie the Pooh from Winnie the Pooh, Blood Honey 2, or Art the Clown? Starting with Winnie the Pooh. If you guys have seen Winnie the Pooh, Blood Honey 2, you guys know Winnie the Pooh was standing on all kinds of business. Not only having super strength using multiple different weapons, but also having a ton of mobility and having health regeneration. If you guys have seen the movie, at the end of the movie, he is supposed to be unalived. And it cuts to a cutscene of where all of the characters except Piglet are still alive, meaning that Winnie the Pooh is more or less immortal, making this a little bit of a tougher task for Art the Clown. Now, hopping over to Art the Clown, as we know, he's a jokester. He enjoys unaliving. That's one of his favorite things. And you can tell by the movies that he genuinely enjoys it. But him not taking it seriously may be his downfall. Now, yes, I know he has a bag of tricks. He's extremely fast. He's extremely sly. And yes, he is also immortal, with the little clown girl who's able to more or less rebirth him, which we saw at the end of Terrifier 2. Of course, leading up to Terrifier 3 releasing later this year. So all in all, if it was a death match, Art the Clown versus Winnie the Pooh from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, who do I think is going to win? If we're basing off of sheer strength, I'm going with Winnie the Pooh. All in all, I'm putting all of my chips on Winnie the Pooh. Now, I love Art the Clown, but all in all, I think Winnie the Pooh is packing him up. Like and follow for more, and comment down below who I should do next.
This woman was caught putting Roundup in her husband's Mountain Dew. This man from Missouri went to police after his home surveillance camera caught his wife, 47-year-old Michelle Peters, pouring Roundup, which is a chemical weed killer, into his favorite drink. He became a little suspicious in the beginning of May when he noticed that his Mountain Dew was tasting a little off. At first, he ignored the strange taste and continued to drink it, but a couple of weeks later, he began vomiting and having a sore throat. Then on June 12th, he reviewed surveillance footage in his garage where he kept his Mountain Dew in a fridge, and it shows his wife pouring the Roundup straight into the Mountain Dew bottle. Around that same time, he had told her that he was feeling sick, and all she said was that he probably had COVID and to stay away from the grandkids. Eventually, he went to police and Michelle was arrested, and at first her defense was that she mixed the Mountain Dew with the Roundup because she wanted to create this strong weed killer, and she had seen this on Pinterest. But eventually, she admitted to everything, and she said she did it because she was mad at her husband for being unappreciative after she threw him a 50th birthday party. She then expressed that she regretted it and she should have just divorced him. She was charged with first-degree domestic assault and armed criminal action.
All because he didn't appreciate a birthday party, man. You take it to that extreme. Your own wife, man. You have to watch everybody nowadays, bro. Imagine what happens if he didn't have that camera and he didn't know what was going on. If he wasn't recording around his house, what would have happened? He caught it just in time. That's added.
How sleep paralysis looks like.
It's like a damn demon. Oh, crap. Oh man, what the fuck? What the hell is that?
This is why you should never leave your children alone in Disneyland. Allegedly, this 4-year-old girl named Lee went missing in Disneyland in Anaheim, California on October 12th. Lee was visiting the park with her family. They were having a great time, so they decided to get something to eat together, and that's when Lee realized that she really needed to go use the restroom. Surprisingly, the mother let 4-year-old Lee go to the restroom by herself because, after all, it is Disneyland. It's safe, right?
No, it ain't.
Time started to pass by, and Lee was taking longer than usual, so the mother went to the restroom to see what was going on. When the mom entered the restroom, she saw the most unbelievable thing ever. The mother witnessed a man taking Lee to an underground tunnel, and when she tried to go grab Lee, the door completely closed and she was unable to catch her. Allegedly, the mother ran out of the bathroom crying for help and contacting the authorities. Authorities and employees of Disneyland completely checked the bathroom and they could not find anything, and they just made it seem like she was crazy and making up the whole thing. Lee's father told Disney management that they should break down the floor of the bathroom to prove that there's not a tunnel, and they told him no. Disneyland management had told authorities that these parents had lost their mind and were completely making this up. The parents also wanted to see a video surveillance of when Lee was walking to the bathroom, but apparently it wasn't working that day.
What?
There's also one instance of where a mother is in the bathroom stall and she sees a hole going through the wall, and it looked like there was an underground tunnel where they could see them. In 2006, 35 Disney employees ended up getting arrested for crimes against children, so this story does not seem too far-fetched, but I guess we will really never know.
What is the biggest difference?
What do you guys think, man? Some of these clips we've been hearing, like stories about Disneyland, but like news like that always stays out the major, like I guess news circuits or something like that, because Disney is ties or something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they really had an underground like tunnel or something over there. They had the resources.
Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, in the New Age slasher Art the Clown. It's this one thing. Gen slashers always hold true to this because they're not threats. But will Art the Clown see it that way? I don't know, because from what I've been told, the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most disgusting, disturbing, and shocking things we've ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because Terrifier 2 was absolutely insane, especially the bedrooms. People were literally running out of the theaters and throwing up when they first saw Terrifier 2. And if the first couple minutes of Terrifier 3 are said to be some of the most shocking and disturbing things we've seen from Art, what does that mean for this little person? What's gonna happen? Because from the countless set photos we've seen, Art the Clown is dressed up as Santa Claus and going to the mall. Meaning he's gonna have a ton of people around him sitting on his lap and telling him what he wants for Christmas. Now, we already know what Art the Clown wants for Christmas. He wants to decorate with people. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions and tagged in this video. Do I think Art the Clown is genuinely gonna pack this kid up? I don't know. I don't think Damien Leone is going to go that far, but if it's been said that this movie is going to be 10 times shocking, especially the first 5 minutes, and we've already seen the 2-minute clip where Buddy's going crazy downstairs, I really don't know if I would put it past Art the Clown for him to do this. I just kind of hope not.
Skinwalker disguising as human.
Okay, let's see it. Weird as hell. What do you guys think? Was that an actual Skinwalker? He was walking weird as hell, man, so I don't know what the hell that was. We've been seeing some of those clips before, man. Fastball. Tragic story. Damn, man. Crap. Into this another tragic story. Okay. What the hell happened? Oh crap. Oh man.
Arkansas. Hot Springs, Arkansas was actually about 400 miles away from the couple's original destination.
What you're about to see is intense. What you just saw is the United States Coast Guard raiding a high-speed submarine in the Eastern Pacific Ocean moving more than 17,000 pounds of cocaine.
Oh, what the?
On June 18th, 2019, a Coast Guard surveillance aircraft tracked and intercepted the drug-filled narco sub hundreds of miles off the Colombian-Ecuadorian coastline. The video shows a member of the Coast Guard riding on top of the speeding submarine. He then starts pounding on the hatch and demanding it to come to a stop. 3 other Coast Guard members then jump ship and board the 40-foot-long submarine. The video then continues, and you see the presumed trafficker emerging from the submarine hatch with his hands up, surrender. And in total, 5 alleged smugglers were seized on board the vessel and were handed over for prosecution by the United States Drug Enforcement Administration.
Are these your friends, the police?
Now, just watch the full encounter unfold. It's honestly something straight out of a video game.
What's he saying?
That's gonna be hard to get on. Alto Tupaco!
Oh, he just jumped.
Crazy. To make sure that he liked girls. Barbara Baekeland was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and because of her beauty, she became a model. She began to model for Vogue and was thrown into the Hollywood life. While Barbara was auditioning for roles, she got introduced to Brooks Baekeland, and they ended up sleeping together, and she thought the only way that she could secure his heart was by lying to him and saying that she was pregnant with his baby. The two ended up getting quickly married, and Barbara was working as a professional painter and Brooks was working as a writer. The both ended up seeing other people outside of their marriage, and for the first time, Barbara was actually pregnant, and she ended up having a son in 1946, and his name is Anthony, but they weren't sure if this was actually from her husband or from another person. The two ended up getting divorced after Brooks met a girl 15 years younger than Barbara, which pushed her over the edge. In 1967, Anthony was about 20 years old, and while he was in Switzerland, he met a man named Jake Cooper, and they started a relationship together. Barbara was not very supportive of her son's relationship choices, so she decided that she was going to fix him. That is when she decided to hire girls to sleep with her son. Obviously, this did not fix anything, so Barbara decided that she was going to sleep with her son, and hopefully this was going to change him. Anthony despised his mom and was thinking of ways he could end her life. On November 17th of 1972, Anthony had stabbed his mom with a kitchen knife, and she died almost immediately. Once police arrived at the scene, he confessed to everything, and he was actually released after 7 years. Once Anthony was released, he went to go live with his grandmother, and 6 days after he was released, he ended up stabbing her 8 times and breaking a lot of her bones, but thankfully she did survive. On March 20th of 1981, Anthony was found in his cell with a plastic bag wrapped around his head, and he had took his own life. There is a movie called Savage Grace, and it's actually based on this whole case.
The death of Kim Jong-nam. He was the half-brother of Kim Jong-un, and supposedly Kim Jong-un killed him. One day at an airport, Kim Jong-nam was grabbed by a girl. He was walking around, a girl grabs him from behind and wipes oil on his forehead. Later, he complains to the airport staff about his forehead, pointing to it. They then bring him to a medical center. Later, there's video of him slumped in a chair, but I'm not going to show it on TikTok. He was pronounced dead in a span of 2 hours. This girl was later arrested that day for doing it. She was Vietnamese, and she said she thought it was baby oil. She said men came up to her saying it was baby oil, and if she wiped it on somebody's head, she would become a YouTube star. The 2 girls were released, and it was believed that Kim Jong-un hired them YouTube guys. The oil was VX nerve agent. It's an extremely toxic synthetic that was made by humans for biowarfare. Basically, a disease made for war. Like this video if you want part 2.
Crazy. Need you guys thoughts down below.
Oh, damn child, leave this house.
I never watched any of those videos, man, that we see once these videos we review together. Secrets, man, it's too much for my mind to even comprehend, and I don't need that rattling up here. I just take these people for their word. Some BBS pillows? What has this world come to?
This is why you should never mess with the autistic kid at school. In 2012, a kid named Jeremy was diagnosed with mid-tier autism. To make matters worse, he was also a Call of Duty addict. At school, he would act out cutscenes from various Call of Duties. Because of this, people saw him as the weird kid and he got bullied. Things got really bad until he couldn't handle it anymore. One day, he arrived at school with a gun and shot all the people who were bullying him. What's really creepy is that when he was sentenced in court, he asked how much kills he got.
That's a tragic case, man. What the hell? We don't be communicating with demons over here.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, part 11. And make sure to watch till the end of the video because the last fact will be from this game called I Wish I Didn't Know. Right now, in your bed are between 100,000 to 10 million dust mites. And if this isn't bad enough, they feast on skin flakes. An octopus is so flexible that it's capable of entering through your mouth, traveling through your digestive tract, and coming out through your asshole. There are over 200 dead bodies on Mount Everest, and they're used as checkpoints by climbers. If you die inside of your house, it's very common that your pet is going to want to eat you. You wouldn't do that, would you? Neil Armstrong's footprints on the moon don't match up with the ones on his astronaut suit. And the craziest one, the natural vanilla, strawberry, and raspberry flavoring actually comes from a beaver's anal gland. Jesus Christ.
There's some really creepy facts, man, that are just blowing my mind right now. That's why I say you have to tap in with us. First of all, I think I might be calling a cap on that an octopus can trap the whole mouse out of the digestive system, come out behind. I know they freaking flexible, but they are capable of that. That's just something I just can't freaking believe. And that we get the strawberry flavor, vanilla flavor from a freaking beaver's gland. What the hell? Man, I be learning new stuff just like you guys every single day, man. Watching these clips with you guys. That's crazy. So what do you guys think? Cap or fact on some of those facts we just we saw?
I just found something extremely dark. If you look at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice website, you'll see death row information. A list of people the government has killed, and you get to see who they are, what their crime was, their last statement, their name, jail number, and even the county they were killed in. Ooh, look, they have career opportunities. Funny thing is, the data is updated in real time, and the last person that was put down was on February 6th, 2020.
Damn, I didn't even know you
Haunting
could find
facts
that
about
info.
serial killers that you'll want to forget. Part 1. After raping his blindfolded victims, the Golden State Killer would be super quiet and pretend like he was gone, and right when the victims would try to untie themselves or go for their phone, he would scare the hell out of them. Jeffrey Dahmer attempted to make sex zombies out of his victims by drilling holes into their head while they were still alive and pouring acid into the holes. American serial killer Albert Fish once cooked and ate a little girl and sent a letter to her parents describing how she tasted. Colombian serial killer Pedro Alonso Lopez raped and murdered over 300 girls. He was in prison for 18 years when he was moved to a psychiatric hospital where they declared him to be sane and he was set free, even though he stated that he planned on killing again. He was released in 1998 and no one knows where he is or what he's doing.
That's insane. If he said that he was going to do the act again and they still let him free, I'm telling you, man, the assistant sometimes is up here, down here, up here. It's like teeters back and forth. We need to find equal point. That's just mind-blowing, to say the least. Okay.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 7.
There's ears.
A man was working outside when a fly flew into his eye for a split second and laid eggs.
Oh.
When they began to hatch, they started eating his eye from the inside, and he began to go blind. The Magnapenna squids are a group of rarely seen sea creatures that live 4,000 feet below the surface of the ocean and are believed to grow up to 27 feet long. 20% of young children report hearing voices. The average person only sees 5,000 movies in their lifetime, and Netflix has over 7,000 movies. So if you want to know which ones to watch, there's this really great app, click link in my bio. Even if you follow the 5-second rule, tiny insects can crawl on your food and you'll eat them without knowing. For the role of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, actress Judy Garland was forced to live on a diet of coffee, soup, and 80 cigarettes a day. And the actors who played the Munchkins groped and molested her, and she was even slapped by the director for laughing during a scene.
Man, what the hell? I don't even do that damn 5-second rule. Nope, it's on the floor, just throw it away, keep it. Nah, we don't pick up food on the floor. That's exactly another reason why not to, bro. Those insects get on your food. So those maggots, no. We don't do that over here, seekers. Man. And the fly laying eggs in his eyes? What the hell? How much bad luck you had to do for a fly to just, it flew in your eye and it laid eggs that 1 second?
Wait, oh my god, so zombies are literally real and you can become one. There's a syndrome called walking corpse syndrome. It's a neuropsychiatric disorder in which a person believes they are dead or missing a soul and their brain acts like it. A man was diagnosed after a fatal motorcycle crash. He survived, but he didn't think he did. Since the conditions are so rare, it's very difficult to pinpoint the causes and any potential cures. So if anyone becomes a zombie, very slim chance you can return back to normal. What would you do?
What the hell? Zombies are real? Oh no. Tiny car, 2 cars for each person. What you guys pick, seekers? Made a rock. Damn, where's this world coming to, man?
For a second. Marilyn Monroe used to be married to Joe DiMaggio, and when they were married, she bought that middle plot right there, and right above her was supposed to be Joe, but when they got divorced, he sold it to this guy named Richard Poncher. So right before Richard died, he tells his wife that he wants to be buried face down so that he could be facing Marilyn Monroe for all of eternity, and if she doesn't do that, he's going to haunt her forever. And that's exactly what happened, which is really creepy. Directly next to her is Hugh Hefner, who never actually met her in real life and published photos of her as the first sweetheart of the month for Playboy, which actually almost ruined her career and was done so without her permission. Marilyn totally deserves better, and I think she deserves her own crypt or something away from all these creeps.
That's actually kind of crazy. You can just, I mean, that's somebody's final resting place, and they just chose that place there just to, I guess, be around her. That's taking obsession to a whole nother level, Seekers. Really. I think, yeah, she does this her own place. Away from those people.
Child Killers Part 1, Eric Smith. On August 2nd, 1993, Eric Smith was only 13 years old when he lured a boy into the woods. He was riding his bike to a local summer camp to where he saw a 4-year-old boy, Derek Robbie, walking alone to the same camp. Smith lured him into the woods and then dropped a rock on his head. He then proceeded to sexually assault him in ways that I'm not going to say. So at around 11 a.m., Derek Robbie's mother went to the park to pick up her son, but he was never there and they said he never arrived. 4 hours later, his body was found in the woods. So at first, no one really knew who could have done this to him. There was not really much evidence. Eric was kind of suspicious because he was hanging around the investigation quite a bit. So within days of the murder, Eric confessed to his parents and they took him to the police station and he was arrested. One thing to note, when he was younger,
down by the bay,
too young,
by the bay, where the watermelon rock, if you go home, just don't get caught,
That's actually insane about all those facts, especially about Mount Everest, how they use, like, they say those bodies as checkpoints. I never knew that until I watched these clips, man. They're gonna try to remove them and try to give them a final resting place. You just use it for checkpoints.
Oh, damn child, leave this house.
Crazy, man.
System, part 4. Firstly, this woman really wanted to bring her bottle of water on a flight. But if you've ever traveled on an airplane, you'll know that you can't carry more than 3.4 ounces of liquid with you. So in 2013, she came up with a genius loophole. She carried a large can of water with her, but the water was frozen. And according to the law, you can't carry water in a liquid state, but you can bring frozen water. Moving on, you can't bring alcohol to a music festival. But in 2017, a man named Alex Diamond came up with a genius idea. A few days before the Electric Zoo Music Festival, he went to the site and buried a water bottle filled with alcohol, pinning the exact location on Google Maps. A few days later, when the festival started, he went to the same spot and dug up the bottle. Finally, this kid was having fun playing games on his computer, until his parents told him to go outside and play. So he took his computer outside and started playing there.
Those 5,000 IQ moves, man. The hell are we watching? Those are definitely some edits, right?
This might be the scariest thing that ever happened to America. We all know that America had a lot of scary things happen to it. But this has to be the scariest thing ever. On August 29th, 1968, every single TV in America shut down. But a demonic whispering was coming from every TV in America. Many people believed that it was the devil trying to get across some message. But nobody really understood it. This lasted for about 25 seconds, then all the TVs came back on. To this day, nobody knows what caused it or why it happened, but everybody believes it was the works of the devil.
What do you guys think? What was that? What was the cause of all those TVs going out and for this playing that audio? Was a message trying to get through? Or were they testing something? Because you know how they be testing stuff with the TVs. Some questions, man, that's coming into my mind.
After a massive manhunt, the missing hiker has been found alive after 10 days. And how he survived is crazy. 34-year-old Lucas only planned an afternoon hike in California's oldest state park. So he set out with very few supplies and not even a t-shirt, expecting to return home in a few hours. However, he soon became disorientated as recent wildfires had destroyed familiar landmarks. And since Lucas didn't tell anyone where he was going, the alarm was only raised after he missed Father's Day lunch 5 days after he set out. This sparked a massive manhunt involving nearly 300 people and multiple agencies. While they searched, Lucas wandered the forest, slept on wet leaves, foraged for berries, and drank water he collected from his boots. Without a t-shirt or any supplies to start a fire, he developed hypothermia. He was stalked by a mountain lion, and things got really bad when he got injured after slipping on a wet rock face. Lucas lost over 30 pounds and spent the last 48 hours just lying there screaming for help. On day 10, a drone and a sniffer dog finally found him, and at last he was reunited with his family waiting for him on the forest's edge.
Man, goes to show you, everybody needs to have some natural, I guess, camping ability or skills, because you never know what can happen. Or you'll be put in that situation. Where's this guy?
Scariest interviews with serial killers. Serial killer John Hughes. John Hughes was convicted of 15 murders and sentenced to life in prison in 2010.
Damn.
When he was interviewed and asked if he would kill again, he said this.
Because you'd kill again.
More than positive. I got different thoughts. Then he was asked if he felt bad for the murders he had committed, and this is what he said.
You don't feel bad about killing anyone?
Not personally, that I've personally done myself, no.
Why?
Wrong place, wrong time. Follow for more.
Very eerie, man. No remorse.
Do you know how weird time is? If you have two twins that are 20 years old, and you sent one of them to the star Sirius at 99% the speed of light and then flew back again, the twin who stayed on Earth would be 37 years old, and the twin who was traveling would only be 22 years old. Every single person on Earth, including you, is living in the past, because our brains don't perceive an event until about 80 milliseconds after it's already happened. It is a very fine line, but that's why some physicists argue that there's no such thing as the present moment. The way that you perceive the passing of time is heavily dependent on the language you use. People in most Western cultures perceive the passing of time as being left to right, because that's how we write, but other cultures perceive it as up to down, east to west, or right to left. Time is actually passing faster for your face than it is for your feet, because the closer you are to the center of the Earth, the slower time moves. A year at the top of Mount Everest is 15 microseconds shorter than it is at sea level.
Wow.
What could this strange creature be? An alien, or perhaps a demon? What we need to keep in mind is that when the body of a fur-bearing animal decays, especially if it's in a moist area or submerged in water, the fur will often fall off before the skin decomposes. And it is for that reason that I am very confident we are looking at nothing more than the corpse of a decomposing monkey.
Creepiest home camera footage. In 2017, a mother in Billings, Montana woke up in the middle of the night to a notification on her phone. Her phone was synced to a baby monitor she had set up in her infant daughter's room. On this night, upon being alerted, she opened the app expecting to see her daughter awake in the crib. But instead she saw this. A man she didn't know is seen crouched down in the room. She saw this and ran to the room to retrieve her daughter and run out the house. She didn't see anyone in the room but wasn't exactly looking. When she called the cops, they arrived and conducted a search of the home but didn't find anything. A very odd detail is that it was found that nothing but the remote to a dog shock collar was stolen from the house. Who this man is and how he got in the house is still unknown.
That's crazy. That's really like one of my worst fears. Like somebody's in your house and you have no idea they were there. Like, that's very creepy and eerie, man. How somebody can be in your house and they can be in that vicinity for so long and you have no idea. That's insane. Where's this guy? Edit. Call it out like you see it. He's known for his edits.
These are things humans should never hear. Part 1.
Okay.
What I'm about to show you is a simulation of what happened to Alaskan Flight 261 following a catastrophic loss of pitch control, killing all 88 people on board. This is real audio footage of the plane going down between the pilots and air traffic control. The plane went inverted, meaning it was flying upside down, and just listen to how calm the pilots are.
No survivors? So calm. Damn.
Genius people who beat the system, Part 1. This student was only allowed to have a one-page cheat sheet. So they wrote a whole page of notes in blue pen and another page in red pen. They then brought 3D glasses to class, so when they looked through the blue side, they could see the red pen, and when they looked through the red side, they can see the blue pen. This guy's new job required a photo of him in a suit for their new website. But since he doesn't own a suit, he just photoshopped his face over this guy's face, and honestly, it looks pretty real. A girl's dad went to Vegas for 5 days and put a camera in the living room to make sure she didn't have any parties. But the girl wasn't going to let that stop her from partying, so she came up with a pretty creative solution. This parking spot says only green vehicles can park there, but I think the owner of this car took that a bit too literally. This kid's mom told him that food wasn't allowed in the living room and his tablet wasn't allowed in the kitchen, so it's safe to say that he beat the system.
People, man. When they want to beat the system, they'll think of something. What the hell is that?
God. This creature, nay, this nightmare, is something so incredibly rare. It is likely that none of you have ever heard tell of its kind before. It's called a turtle.
What?
Here's some of the greatest conspiracy theories of all time. Part 4. The Grinch has a well-known backstory about hating Christmas. However, eventually in the movie, his heart grows 3 sizes and he loves Christmas once again. But this story may continue longer than we think. It is clear that the Grinch isn't exactly right in the head, but during one of the Grinch's wacky stunts, he could have gotten a head injury. This injury would later take a toll on him as he grew old and caused him to lose his memory. After him and his dog died, they were given a new life in a realm called Halloween Town, where they now lived as Jack Skellington in Zero. He later reunites with his love for Christmas, just like he had when he was alive. Both eventually wear a Santa suit, both deliver presents, and both have a dog companion. It may be possible that How the Grinch Stole Christmas and The Nightmare Before Christmas are tied together.
Connected, man? Media's connecting?
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you. There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators. The animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.
That's some crazy info, especially about those mannequins outside the house. I think somebody commented on, like, they give a reason why that's there, but need to check that out again. But the things we heard about the saying when the skin lined vegan suit, there was a lot of rumors that some weird stuff was going on behind that movie. So, and you know how Hollywood is nowadays. So now imagine back in the days what was going on there.
Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal. 10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Damn. It kind of sounds like a Wakanda freaking like origin story. How the metal just fall to earth and they just made weapons out of it or just forged it. It's actually insane. The parallels between those two freaking
when the bravest bear in history was just a cub, his mother was slain by hunters, and the poor orphan was carried off to a train station in Iran. But when he was rescued by Polish soldiers fleeing the Soviet Union, they bottle-fed him back to health with milk and honey, and on cold nights he even cuddled up next to them in their tents. Imitating the soldiers, he learned how to smoke, drink, and wrestle, and when the men went on patrol, he'd march alongside them on his hind legs. When a spy broke into the Polish camp, he sniffed him out while hiding in the showers, and when the intruder laid eyes on his furry foe, his panic scream alerted every soldier within miles to his presence. But when the Poles boarded British boats bound for the Italian campaign of World War II, they were presented with a strict policy prohibiting pets on their ships. Yet not willing to leave the brown bear behind, they found a loophole and formally enrolled him into the Polish army as a private. During the famous Battle of Monte Cassino, the Germans had fortified a monastery upon a hill and had devastatingly repulsed 3 prior attacks. But carrying crates of ammunition that would normally require 4 strong men, the courageous cub charged up the hill, successfully resupplying the Polish artillery. And even in the face of heavy enemy fire, he never dropped a single crate, allowing Allied forces to capture the stronghold and gaining promotion to corporal for his bravery. After the war ended, the Iron Curtain prevented the Poles from returning home, and so the brave bear was brought to a zoo in Scotland, where he was frequently visited by his fighting friends, who would often bring him treats and jump into his enclosure for a good wrestle. And it's said that for the rest of his life, he would happily stand up and salute whenever he heard Polish. When you're the most ferocious furry fighting force to ever fight for the free world, they don't just call you the bravest bear, they call you Corporal Wojtek.
Could you live on a pillar for decades without coming down? It sounds impossible, but this was actually a way of life that emerged around the 5th century CE in the Eastern Roman Empire. These Christian ascetics were known as stylites. They would eat, sleep, fast, write, all on top of a pillar for years without coming down. They would rely on the locals to give them food. The earliest known stylite was a man named Simeon. He was a Christian ascetic from the 5th century CE near the city of Aleppo in Syria. He wanted to be left alone, so he climbed up a pillar. But he actually became more popular when he climbed up and started living on here, so his plan sort of backfired. He ended up spending around 37 years living on a pillar. Travelers would climb up ladders to reach him just to have a conversation. Certainly an interesting way of life.
How the hell they stayed up there for so long?
So this preacher from Zimbabwe claims he can walk on air.
Okay. Is this an edit?
Well, I'm convinced.
Hail Messiah!
There's definitely no other explanation for why his feet were off the ground, like people on the side holding him up. That's definitely not what happened. It's not like you can see the shadow of the door closing on his left when you slow down the footage. Just shut up and tell me where to donate my money. I mean, come on, it's not like people use religion to scam people. I mean, yes, the preacher has a nicer house than all of us, but then again, he walks on air and we don't.
Case closed.
Is he scamming like that? And people will believe in it?
Terrifying sounds extinct animals used to admit, and the last one's the worst. If you don't know this extinct mega chicken, you must be living your life under a rock. This is a dodo bird. 3 feet tall, 45 pounds, and a pair of chicken wings that are more useless than a penguin's. It can make an omelet for a family and produce a sound that would cause me to move to Mars. The lizard that got into your bag of tread, the velociraptor. Or should I say Jurassic Myth, because they didn't look like this at all. Hollywood lied to you. At least the film's fuck-up looks more like a Utah raptor. This is actually what a velociraptor looks like. It's basically also just a giant chicken. Moving 25 miles per hour and hunting in packs isn't the scary part. It's the way they sound. The only difference between this next animal and my meat is that it went extinct, the Titanoboa. And if this BGC's length at 50 fuck-no feet isn't impressive enough, how about its 3 feet in girth? This twisty telephone pole could squeeze at 400 psi, crushing any 20-foot crocodile that lived at the time. Damn. And this no-bro makes a sound like no other. The extinct blubberbuzz that used to swallow the megalodon, the leviathan whale. This living sea monster is a distant cousin of our daily sperm whale.
What?
Except unlike the living load we have today that primarily consumes giant squid, the leviathan had no predators and ate everything. And the sound alone is enough to terrify me. Congratulations, you made it to the final animal. And I'm sorry you have to hear this, but the T-Rex doesn't actually look this way. Real-life Reptar looks much more terrifying with a haircut like Grandpa. And boy, do I have news for you. Their arms weren't useless. It said that they could have bench pressed up to 400 pounds. And did I mention they can also swim? The sound they made is weird, but the closest relative they have alive today is also weird. It's the chicken. I'm so sorry it had to end this way.
What?
Enjoy.
Okay. Chicken is related to the T-Rex. The more you know.
Sorry for being so unprofessional. Whoa! Wow! No way!
It's an edit.
What?
Hey, my name is Ajax, and in case you didn't know, I am the first and only animal made to make music born of rock, star, dust, and mold.
How many of you guys remember this girl? She went absolutely viral in 2020 for making faces in court. But before we get into her story, my name is Ashley, and if you guys like crime, creepy, and unbelievable stories, check out my YouTube channel or my TikTok for more content. So this girl's name is Isabella Guzman, and in 2013, she fatally stabbed her mother over 79 times. The video that went viral was actually from 2013, but somehow it took 7-8 years for it to reach mass audience. So initially, Isabella was quite young when she started exhibiting a lot of behavioral issues. She was living with her mother at the time, but when she was 7 years old, she was sent to live with her father. After a few years went by, her father then sent her to go live with her mother again when she was a teenager. And in August of 2013, the relationship between Isabella and her mother quickly deteriorated. They were fighting quite often, and on August 27th, they had an argument that ended with Isabella spitting in her mother's face. The following morning, Isabella's mother received an email saying, "You will pay." Obviously, she was terrified and didn't know what else to do with her daughter, so she called the police. The police arrived to her home and then talked to Isabella, telling her that if she didn't straighten up, that her mother could legally kick her out of the house. Isabella's mother then called her biological father to come talk to Isabella. He came over to their house and had a long talk with her in the backyard, talking to her about respect. According to him, he thought that they had made a lot of progress, but then a few hours later, everything changed. August 28, 2013, around 9:30 p.m., Isabella's mother, Yeonmi Hoi, arrived home. told her husband she was going to head upstairs and take a shower. That's when her husband hears these awful screams coming from upstairs. Obviously, he runs upstairs to see what's wrong, and when he gets to the bathroom, he sees Isabella slamming the bathroom door shut, locking herself and her mother in the bathroom. He tried as hard as he could to get that door open, but it was locked. All he heard was screaming and an obvious struggle going on. Then he saw blood seeping through the bottom of the door and called 911. Then, as the door was opening, he heard his wife say the word Jehovah, and then Isabella walked out of the bathroom with a bloody knife. Apparently, Isabella didn't say a single thing, just stared at him and walked away like nothing had happened. Runs into the bathroom to check on his wife when he discovers that she had been brutally stabbed 79 times. Unfortunately, she passed away. By the time police arrived, Isabella had run away from the home, but police quickly found her the following day, hiding in a nearby parking garage. On September 5, 2013, Isabella was brought into court for the first time, and that's where we see the video of her making all these faces. Later find out that Isabella was actually suffering from schizophrenia and had delusions for years. According to her, she didn't remember that she was stabbing her mother. She thought that she was stabbing a woman named Cecilia in order to save the world. The judge accepted her plea of mental insanity and sentenced her to a mental facility. In June 2021, Isabella was given permission to leave the hospital for her therapy sessions. She has expressed remorse for what happened, but also said that her mother was extremely abusive towards her.
Dr. Disrespect was sent to jail this morning. This tweet is going viral for literally exposing him. I don't want to read some of this stuff on TikTok because this video might get taken down. The former Twitch employee just exposed him for... Oh my gosh. There's no name that was mentioned for the person that he was doing it to, but it has came out that it was Dr. Disrespect. Now, as a lot of people know, Dr. Disrespect has been banned off of Twitch for like a couple years now, and the reason was always unknown. Dr. Disrespect, even on stream, say like, I can't say like why I was banned on Twitch. It's like a whole legal thing right now. Basically, he couldn't leak it because it was all legal, and like, you just couldn't tell all of his audience. The fact that he was hiding something that maybe was this is... That is so disgusting, dude. But he doesn't, like, I know you can't really say that. He doesn't look like a person that would do that. Like, bro is a white, bro has millions of dollars. I don't think he would ever do something like that. That's exactly what the comments say underneath this tweet. Fake news, the information isn't confirmed by Twitch. Honestly, this whole tweet is just speculation. Let me know if y'all think this is true, and what do y'all think about this? Dr. Disrespect was actually talking to a minor. He just confirmed this on Twitter. This wasn't a joke. Everybody thought the news was fake, and that's why he was banned on Twitch, because he was talking to someone underage inappropriately, but no. This is the tweet that he just tweeted. I'll just cut to the juicy part of it. Were there Twitch whisper messages with an individual minor back in 2017? The answer is yes. He was speaking to someone underage, which is fine, right? These were casual, mutual conversations that sometimes lean too much in the direction of being inappropriate. I guess Twitch saw that in his DM, and that's why he got banned. Oh, that's insane that he literally admitted this. That's actually crazy. And just say, but nothing more, nothing illegal happened, no pictures, no crimes. But you know, that's good. I mean, it was just Twitch whispers, but like, bro, this is so surprising. Like, he has a kid, he's a fam, multi-millionaire, like 6'6". Like, you would never think a guy like this would ever get in, like, you never think he would get caught up in something like this. Yeah, what do y'all think about this? Apparently, he didn't do anything illegal, but the rumors were true. This is what all this...
That's crazy, man. Dr. Disrespect, you know, is one of the biggest streamers in the world. I don't understand why people in positions like that, they always... It's like they can't control themselves. They always have to do something immoral, man. Man, people was always wondering why he got banned. I still remember he got freaking banned on Twitch or something like that. It was trending, and people kept asking him why. But he could never give an answer. But now, I guess you know why. You wouldn't want something like that to come out. That's basically going to end his career. I don't know how we're going to come out from this. Never in a million years would people think this was the reason why Dr. Disrespect was banned.
Streamers had to say about Dr. Disrespect. Explicit messages to a minor. This is the saddest one of all, Tim the Tatman. As you know, Dr. Disrespect and Tim the Tatman went way back. They always played games together. I remember watching Tim the Tatman stream, and he was like all excited to play with Doc finally once he switched over to YouTube. Now that this came out, he posted this very sad story on Twitter. It was like, if the messages are true, then I just can't see myself playing with them, which makes sense. You can't support this type of behavior. By the way, guys, this isn't a made-up rumor. He did do this. He literally tweeted that the answer is yes, he did send Twitch messages to a individual that was a minor back in 2017, and they did. Some of them weren't inappropriate. It's crazy seeing everybody respond. Jacksepticeye says effing disgusting when he puts like the tweet out. Pokimane just tweets out yuck. That's crazy. Ray says, Doctor, disgusting. 40,000 likes. That's insane. Even Nadia responds. Never mind. Who cares about Nadia? My bad. And of course, Nick Merckx responded. I'm not going to put that up on here. He had a lot of extra stuff to say, so I'll go on Twitter and look at that. I don't know, man. The guy's like 6'6", millions of dollars, his family, kids, and he was doing this type of stuff. And even though this was a while ago, this was a couple years ago that he got banned on Twitch, I don't know. What do y'all think about this? This is really sad.
Like I said, never in a million years would you expect someone like Dr. Disrespectful. That's the reason why he was banned. And people kind of say it came out like the same situation. Remember when he said he had that cheating scandal with his wife or something like that? But I think that was a separate situation. I don't know if that's connected or not, but damn, I remember I saw that freaking trend yesterday. Freaking Kyle followed him, just like everybody making freaking pictures about it and memes and stuff. I'm just like, it's freaking serious accusation, man. I don't get why people in power, when they have that, it's like when they get the clout and the money and influence, they just can't control themselves. I truly don't get it, Seekers. Hey, you tell me down below, man, what do you guys think about that Dr. Disrespect case, man? Nobody in a million years would have guessed that. That's it, man, for this video for you guys today. If you guys made it with me to the end, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Like I said, guys, we're doing these daily uploads. You guys gonna catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.